up front tonight, flooding in the coastal bend. This comes after there was a lot of rain here in Corpus. This threat, if you live in a coastal bend, you will experience flood. And this threat of rain is going to continue through Friday. So you can expect a break from that. Which is part of our weather break series. Part of weather break. And the showers and thunderstorms, they're going to be, will continue tomorrow and Friday. So if you got outdoor plans, I would suggest you skip them out. And if you want to spend $14, $7 on a lift, be your guest. Figure something out. And all this flooding is, and if you live in Flybluff, you would notice about all those floodings. Stop the flushing, and they are addressing to stop flushing toilets, using drains as sewer systems, and that's overwhelmed with rain. So if you live in Flybluff like I am, all those roads are backed up in the sewers as the city reports. And really, you can't make this up. If the city says stop flushing toilets and using drains as a sewer system, don't do that. We have to save that water for drinking and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like Chris Young says, save water, drink beer. People might say, like, save water and drink Dr. Pepper. Doesn't matter. What really matters is we have to save up the water. It's going to continue on until Friday morning. And at that time, everything will dry up. Alright. Enough with the flood. Also up front, COVID. We haven't done a lot of COVID numbers here. We haven't done a lot of COVID in a long time, so let's look at the past 14 days since COVID. 3 million cases in Nueces County with plus 4,000. 40,000 Nueces County plus 384 plus 47. That's going to equal now to 40,200 some, with deaths over 845. With 52 deaths, 52,681 deaths plus 25 in Texas. What about the vaccine? What about those vaccine numbers? And there's daily new vaccinations. This is from, and there's been like 14 million been dosed. That's 48.7%. Second dose has been administered 11.1 million. Population is 28 million. Doses per people is 89.73. That's only in this state. That's close to 90. Maine is like almost close to 24. Almost to 112. But let me tell you, if you're not vaccinated, you need to make sure that you know that if you're not vaccinated, you need to make sure you follow these tips. Like I've always told you about this show. These tips are to wear your mask at all times. No excuses. If you're vaccinated, then you're welcome to... If you are vaccinated, then you're welcome to take your mask off. If you're not, the mask has to be at the nose, not at the bottom, nor down here. You wear it down here, that's the incorrect way to wear the mask. again in Texas, 26 million doses have been given, 12.1 million have been vaccinated, and 41.8%. Social distancing, you need to be within 6 feet. That's the issue. That's the issue. No one understands the 6 feet. No one understands the markings on the ground. They look at that, and it's like, I'm just going to ignore it. Okay? You're going to ignore it. That's the issue I have, people ignoring it. Social distancing is required. If you're not social distancing, if you're not social distanced, then you could be spreading the virus everywhere. The goal is to be making sure that we get vaccinated by the end of the year. It's getting close to the end of the year. And if you plan on getting the COVID vaccine like I plan on doing, you need to ask questions like, what are the side effects? If you ask your doctor that, okay. But what I recommend you do before you get the virus is to go on the internet and look up the common side effects of the vaccine. Pain, redness, swelling, delirious, tiredness, headache, muscle pain, chills, fever, nausea. That's the common side effects from the they'll help you protect. You may find some side effects which are normal signs. Wash your hands every 20 seconds to kill all the germs in your hands. And make sure you always sanitize your area at all times. Get yourself some disinfectant wipes, get yourself some Lysol. Those help. Those really help, I tell you what. If you have a medical condition, or if your child's under the age of 2, you cannot wear the mask, but if you have a medical condition, you let know beforehand. And if you ride the bus, they still mandate that you wear the mask, even if you're vaccinated. So if you ride the RTA bus and you're vaccinated and they still have the mask mandate, you have to wear the mask. No excuses. And before we go on break, here in the United States, 33 million doses have been given, 158 million have been vaccinated, and 48% have been fully vaccinated. So that's great news for the U.S. So it's time for someone to step up to the plate and get that vaccine. And we're going to take a break. Coming up, Donald Trump holds his first press conference since July. Hear what he has to say from the lawsuit. A reporter apologizes for making controversial comments that were made public on ESPN. Hear what she has to say and hear those complaints. And you're going to meet a woman who's writing letters to serial killers. Find out what those letters mean. Also, would you take a bath in the desert? Watch an experiment to find out. Donald Trump's back in the news. He held his first press conference since January. And during that time, he's announcing a class action lawsuit he's bringing against 3 of the biggest nation tech companies: Facebook, Twitter, and Google. He's banned from Twitter and not allowed on Facebook for another 2 years. He says it's illegal censorship and wants Florida court to order an immediate halt on social media companies' practices. I mean, if you didn't remember, this was all back to the riots that happened back in January. If you didn't remember, I told you about this. When Donald Trump was still president, he ordered everyone to go out and protest on Capitol Hill, which that led to a lot of things. And it took to social media, and then they decided, you know what, let's ban him for 2 years for this nonsense. And now he comes on today saying this is illegal censorship. It's illegal. It's illegal censorship. He knew what he did was wrong. He was impeached. I mean, 2 years. Just wait till 2023. Stuff like that happens. And this was the same article. He knew what he did was wrong. He shouldn't be filing lawsuits. He knew what he did was wrong. He needs to know the consequences. In Florida, he's filing class action complaints in federal court alleging that tech giants are censoring him and other controversies. A long-running complaint on the right for which there's little evidence which all companies deny. And in today's article, Donald Trump is suing Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, which alleges censorship. After that, the companies kicked Trump off their platforms, citing the risk of further violence. Twitter banned Trump permanently. Facebook suspended him 2 years. YouTube said it will let him return only when we determine that the risk of violence is decreased. Tuesday's lawsuit's former president accused the companies of violating his First Amendment rights on behaving like state actors rather than private companies and putting restrictions on what people can post. He's asking the court to order the companies to reinstate him and other members of proposed class plaintiffs. He wants the court to declare federal law, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, unconstitutional. That law says online sites largely are not legally responsible for what their users post, while an office regulates Twitter's first fact-checking its tweets. Trump signed an executive order attempting to strip social media companies of its Section 230 protection. President Biden has revoked the order. But Edison, who helped the research, said her team is noted troubling phenomena. I'm not going to read you the statement. But the graph is like each source evaluate whether it had history of spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories. I mean, that's what cybersecurity is doing. Red, far right, slightly right. I mean, that's what the graph said. So if it gets taken to court, it will be reported here on this show about what's happening with everything with Donald Trump. I mean, we know he was kicked off. Facebook suspended him for 2 years. YouTube suspended him, and now this is what Trump did. The lawsuit names Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai as defendants, although not YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. Spokespeople for Facebook declined to comment. YouTube did not respond to requests for comment, but legal experts say lawsuits are likely doomed from the start because of the strong attacks both Section 32 and the First Amendment. I mean, let me tell you, free speech does not mean we can say anything. Anything. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. If you do, people could be trampled and you'd be liable. And what people call fighting words are illegal. If you tell rioters, beat that guy up, and they do, you're in trouble. And even some schools limit free speech. Like in some cases in the Supreme Court, like this guy, I don't remember his name, what he did was like he's firm in his pants, firm in his beliefs, and then he was suspended, took it over to the Supreme Court, and they sent the Supreme Court sided with the schools saying they limit on speech. That's the whole thing. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this. This is all about Trump. There's more Give Me a Break when we come back. Remember I told you last week where I was off? Last week I was off because I was investigating every hacker. Well, there's news stories. There's a news story about this. This was from something called Project Veritas. What does it mean? It's an American far-right activist group founded by James O'Keefe in 2010. The group produces edited videos for its undercover operations, which you see recordings and effort to discrete mainstream media organizations and progressive groups. And who was part of that? Ivory Hacker. She was part of the Project Veritas. And I said I wasn't going to talk about this as he's here, but I wanted to give you a sneak preview about this. You see, back in 2019, she was suspended for what she had done. What did she do? If this was able to play on there, I would show you. This was talking about this one person that they all trust. His name is Dr. Joseph Barron. Ivory Hecker from Houston interviewed him back in 2019. And keep in mind, this same person assigned her to that report. And when questioned about this, they decided to censor her, which was part of the Project Veritas. And they decided to release the video 3 weeks ago. And she was fired after accusation of muzzling her. But there's still questions like, why? What would Fox be doing? We still don't know. I mean, I've tried asking her to come on the show to tell her side of the story, but I have not gotten back to her. But I plan on talking with Susan Schilliger, from Vice President and News Director of Fox 26, and Lee Meyer. I am still going to investigate this and bring you the inside story, this was inspired from the CBS 7 News with Dan Rather, which he decides to go inside story. So, I'm giving you the inside story, a portion of the inside story on this. So, you may be thinking I'm just giving you the full thing. No, I'm only giving you a portion. This is a portion of the phone call. It's not just about the viewers, it's what about our CEO reads. It's not about our GM reads. And like we said, it's not about the viewers right now. And there's more COVID drugs. And if I were to do something like this, then everything will just be all a hoax. Ivory was part of Project Veritas. And if you were to Google reporters suspended Project Veritas, one person. And months before Ivory Hecker, James O'Keefe's outfit says his journalistic reputation was employed by suggesting booty from Twitter, promoting misinformation. So that's why these news directors and CEOs are firing reporters, because of misinformation. You can't be doing that. And some of you may think I may be picking on you, but no. This is what the show's about. This show has always been about a few things for me. 1, reacting to a story. 2, being held responsible for your actions. And number 3, getting down to the truth. I'm not going behind the headlines. I'm going beyond the headlines. Dr. Phil goes behind. I go beyond. What do I mean by that? Beyond the headlines? At a point to the other side or at the further side of. So, what I'm going is beyond the headlines, meaning I'm going to the other side or at. So I'm still trying to reach out to Ivy Hacker to see if he would tell her side of the story. But I have not gone back to her. But what I plan on doing for you guys is getting out to the truth for those two. Those two people. See if they want to tell their side of the story of what happened. But nothing's happened. Back in a moment. Rachel Nichols is a great reporter from ESPN. She's now in the news. She's now in the news after commenting after the comment made by her about the color of her skin. Despite the apologizing during the phone call that was recorded last year, was basically attacked by the New York Times. Nichols will be replaced as a sideline reporter for the NBA Finals, which will continue to host the show The Jump. What I'm gonna do is not tell the full story, but I might have her come on the show to tell her side of the story, like I always do. Again, I'm going beyond, not behind. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Friday for the season 4 finale of Give Me a Break. Have a good night, everyone. I will see you on Friday for the season 4 finale of Give Me a Break. Good night.